Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. Well, wasn't that a week and a half? Yeah, we have a lot of bagpiping news to get into this week, and some of it good, some of it not so good. But anyway, we'll get into all of it, of course. Yeah, but first of all, let's get through your introductions then, shall we? If this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, then you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk. We reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the great Highland bagpipe and its people. And yeah, like every other podcast under the sun, yeah, you guessed it, we have a Patreon. So if you would like to, you don't have to, it's not compulsory, but if you would like to help support what we do here on the Big Rab Show, then you can. Go over there, click on support, and you can get your mitts on loads of extras. Now, there's tons back there, including our weekly Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show. And, yeah, there was a lot of great music on last night's show. I'll have to say that. Yeah, we're about to get into all of that great music. Later on, that's the news and updates. But, yeah, last night's show on Fuse was just so much fun. And, yeah, if you did happen to miss it, well, you can go over there to Patreon now and download it. It's available now. Go and have a listen. It was a lot of great crack, yeah. So thank you to everyone who did tune in live and message into the show. We had quite an active one, to be honest. I didn't get through all the messages. There were so many, but it was brilliant. Great fun, I have to be honest. So there you go. Go and check that out on Patreon. All right, so plug the Patreon, plug the intro. Let's get into the show good and proper. Well, with each and every Big Rab show, we do open the door to listener mail. And this week is no different. bigrabshow@gmail.com is our address. bigrabshow@gmail.com. It's never changed from the outset. Now, I have to be honest. This week, our listener mail has been tumbleweeds. We've had absolutely nothing. Well, that's a bit of a lie. We've been working on a pile of extra shows behind the scenes that are coming up later in the year. So, yeah, a lot of the logistical stuff that isn't very exciting for us to bring to a podcast to talk about. But there is a lot happening and, yeah, a lot of things in the works, I'll say that. But, yeah, as far as any questions or commentary or anything like that on previous episodes, then, we've got Bubkiss. I think everybody's really busy at the minute. To be fair, with the season gradually getting off to a start and, yeah, everyone's furiously heading to band practice. Yeah, so, I guess it's one of those things. This is what happens sometimes on the show. Sometimes you get loads of listener mail, sometimes not so much. And I reckon after this week's podcast, we're going to get a wealth of listener mail because I'm sure you know what I'm going to be talking about later on in the show. Anyway, let's get into the rest of it, shall we? Yeah. So, indeed, I just wanted to plug our feature again. We're going to be running it this week for the first time. I'm sure you might have seen the title of this week's episode. It's called Meet the Band. Yes, our brand new segment that we're going to be bringing to future shows where we take time to sit down and find out the stories about some of those pipe bands that you hear on the show here regularly and some that aren't featured on the show regularly. Yeah. We believe that the pipe bands out there have a wealth of great stories to tell, and we never really get the opportunity to hear them. So it's an open door. If a pipe band out there right now would love to have their story featured on the show, then we want to hear from you. So again, we're just throwing the door open. bigrabshow@gmail.com. You can email us in to say, hey, I want my band on there. Meet the Band. So yes, absolutely. And we can get it lined up and recorded, and yeah, your band could be featured on a future episode. So, yes, we will get into the conversation about Uddingston Strathclyde later on in the show. I'm looking forward to that. Right, just wanted to put that out there. If you did want to appear in our future episode of the show, in that segment, Meet the Band, then do reach out to us. Email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. There you are. All right, now, our next feature after all of our listener mail and all that stuff is Weekly Drone. And, yeah, now we've had a few weekly drones come in today. Yeah, at the point of me recording this on the 4th of June, as you can imagine, with the news stories and everything that broke today, yeah, there has been a wealth of weekly drones. Now, unfortunately, due to the time difference and everything, JD has been unable to get them recorded in time for me to get them on this week's pod. All right, but that's the joy of geography, I guess. JD's over there in the United States, and yeah, I'm here in the UK. So, I don't know. These weekly drones, I'm sure we will bring to next week's episode as we get caught up on everything that we're about to get into with all the news and updates. Now, there's plenty here. There is some good news and some bad. And if you don't know what I'm talking about or even why I'm being so sketchy at this point, well, then you haven't seen the announcements and stuff that have been posted online today. It's been a bit of a topic for discussion. And to be honest, I've had to switch my phone off because, yeah, you can tell as people notice the announcements, they're starting to message me and email in and all that kind of. So it's been a little bit nuts since the announcements dropped, and we're about to get into that. So I expect that we'll be bringing some weekly drones to next week's show. So just to plug it again and to remind you that the feature exists and is an open microphone to the bagpiping world. If you do want to send in your own particular weekly drones on any given topic and do so completely anonymously, well, you can. You can go to our website, thebigrabshow.com. There's a big button at the top of the page that says weekly drone. Can't miss it. And yeah, just fill out the details. Now, you can give as much or as little detail as you want, but we will do our best to keep it strictly anonymous. And yeah, you can tell us your thoughts, feelings, opinions, warts and all, and present them here in a future episode of the show for debate. Yeah. And I get a feeling that there will be some debate after we get into this week's news and updates. Oh, Big Rab's going to be tap dancing on some landmines this week, boy. All right, well, hey, it's par for the course, isn't it? All right, let's get into this week's show, good and proper. That's all of our introductions and stuff out of the road. But yeah, unfortunately, no listener mail, no weekly drone to present either, so JD gets a week off. But he will be working furiously behind the scenes, catching up on those weekly drones that we have on the shelf, and we'll bring those next week. All right, well, with that all being said and done, I think it's time for me to go and take a wee break at this point, but I'll be right back with all the news and updates.
Do you wish piping could be fun again? Bagpipers around the world continue to struggle with their instrument, despite hours of hard work trying to get better. Bagpiping should be fulfilling. Your hard work should pay off, showing improvement and the freedom to express yourself musically. Or why do it? The Dojo University believe every piper should be able to free themselves from musical frustration, proven over more than a decade of successful teaching and accessible anywhere with an internet connection. The Dojo is unlike any other bagpipe learning experience in the world. Let the Dojo channel your enthusiasm into a fun and fulfilling program that will empower you with the knowledge to fall in love with piping all over again. So go to dojouniversity.com/Big Rab and take advantage of our 30-day free trial of Dojo Premium membership. Join the global community of students today and rediscover the fun of bagpiping. dojouniversity.com/Big Rab for a 30-day free trial. Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk.
Okay, time for the news and updates. And you know something? I'm going to start somewhere really positive. I think we need a lift. All right? Because, yeah, we're about to get into some negative stuff, but we need a bit of a lift first of all, don't we? So, right, let's talk about Cabify. Oh, it's finally here. Yes. Supporters of the crowdfunding efforts for People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate Caledonia Pipe Band and their Cabify album were treated to an early digital release. Yes, now, thankfully, I was one of those digital supporters, or crowdfunders, I guess, and I received my digital copy. That's what I wanted to say. So, yeah, I also received a signed copy of the CD in the post. Oh, now, I have to say, I'm a massive nerd, and I love receiving stuff like this, because what happens is it goes into the collection, and right now, I have it displayed on a shelf here at home. I know. So I have it right next to my 70th Fraser Highlanders album. Yeah, the Live in Ireland. That's up there now on the shelf, taking pride of place. This album, now, I don't know how many of you listened to the Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show last night, but we did get special permission from the band to play some tracks from the album ahead of its official release. Yeah, so crowdfunder supporters did manage to get an early copy of it digitally, and yeah, general release will be on the 6th of June. We just had that confirmed recently, thanks to an article published on pipesdrums.com. So if you do want to go and grab a copy of it, well then, yeah, keep an eye out. In the next couple of days, this album will go on general release, but the music we played last night on Fuse, you talk about a buzz. Wow. Yeah, I think we played 3 tracks in total from the album, and it's all people could talk about, and they wanted me to play it again. Now, I have to say, I would get in huge trouble with my boss at Fuse if I was to repeat a single track on the same show. Now, I can come back next week and play it again. That's no problem. But I can't do consecutive repeats of the same tune in the one show. Does that make sense? So I did manage to disappoint a lot of people last night who managed to tune in late and managed to miss those tunes. But yeah, I want to tell you that actually experiencing the show live was an absolute experience. And we talked about this at the time whenever I done my review last year, that this was absolutely a moment in history that I don't think that pipe banders will forget anytime soon. And the CD, the album, was absolutely worth the wait. This was capturing lightning in a bottle and is an incredibly difficult task to accomplish. I have to say that People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate Caledonia Pipe Band have achieved it. They have captured the atmosphere from the audience and the magic that was on that stage. Some of those real standout moments from the show are absolutely captured here in minute detail. There are things that I've listened back to that I didn't catch on the night. And now that I've got a whole new appreciation for the work that went into this show. So I can't oversell it enough. I've done what I could on Fuse last night to give you a bit of an indication as to the direction of travel, as to just how amazing this album is. And yeah, I think by looking at the text messages and all of that we received last night on Fuse, you folks out there definitely seem to agree with me. So yes, I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't already got a copy of it, then yeah, do keep an eye out. June 6th is the general release date for Cabify, and you will definitely want to add this to your collection. Now, I know sometimes I do oversell albums and stuff, but I never really like to steer people wrong. And whenever I give the Big Rab Show seal of approval, I genuinely have to mean it. And yeah, there has been occasions where I've given that seal of approval and people go, yeah, do you know, I wasn't going to, and then you said that, and then I went out and got it, and then, hey, Rab, you're right. And I love to be right, because there's so many times there's stuff that Rab got wrong. Anyway, but yes, honestly, this album, Cabify, 100% gets the Big Rab Show seal of approval. All right? There you are. You can take that to the bank. So, yeah, shout out to People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate. For all of us who supported them on Crowdfunder, I guess, we got it early, and it's a lovely perk to have, you know, to being able to listen to this album. Yeah, it's just been fantastic. So for the rest of you who did not support them on crowdfunding effort, don't worry. You have a couple of days to wait, and the album will be released on the 6th of June, and then we can all enjoy this music together. But trust me, next week's Big Rab Show on Fuse will be absolutely jam-packed with Bog Hall. All right, so if you're not a Bog Hall fan, then you're out of luck. We need to play tracks from this album because it is just that good. There we go. So that's quite a positive way to start the show, isn't it? Awesome. Okay, now this isn't really a news story as such, but it's quite an unusual happening. I've never experienced this before. I uploaded a video not too long ago, just this past week, another in the series of Rab Reacts, where I react to videos online of a piping variety. And this video was sent to us by a listener, and it said, the claim in the video is that it was the best funeral piper in a movie. Right? So I sat down and I watched the movie, I watched the clip and I reacted to it in real time. I'm sure by now you've probably seen Rab Reacts. It's up there on our YouTube channel. It's a bit of fun that we have reacting to piping videos. Well, I reacted to this piper, all right? And I didn't really say anything too bad, to be honest. I thought the piper was really, really good. Good tone, played really well. And, spoke about the tune and the bagpipes and all of that, and spoke about the film itself. And, yeah, I thought that was the end of it. No, it wasn't. For any of you who follow us on Facebook, we shared out Rab Reacts on our socials, and we said, hey, check out this new video, it's a fun thing. Well, the bagpiper who actually played that track in the movie reached out to us. Yeah, he reached out to us and actually told his story as to how he became involved in the movie, the megastars that he managed to meet in the course of it. And yeah, shout out to Tom Johnstone. I was absolutely blown away. And to be honest, I had no clue, absolutely no clue that this was Tom Johnstone. So yeah, to everyone who tagged him in the video and said, is this you? And then, yeah, Tom said, yep, that's me. That's me. And then he told us about his setup, about the pipes he was playing. It was just brilliant. What an amazing story. I had no clue who the piper was, and it was just fantastic to be able to meet them via social media and to hear the story behind the clip that I reacted to. Yeah, fantastic. So there you go. If you are anyways curious, go and check out that video on Rab Reacts on our YouTube channel, the best funeral piper in a movie, where the bagpiper reached out to us via social media to tell us the story. So go and check that out on Rab Show socials. It was a very interesting conversation, and we got a lot more detail about the actual movie he was playing in. And very entertaining stuff. So shout out to Tom. Thank you for getting in contact with us. It was just brilliant. I was very, very starstruck. It's such a cool moment. Yeah. All right, now another little news story. I have to give a shout out this week to The Force, drum major display team, who have been putting little details on their socials about their upcoming trip for the Royal Nova Scotia International Tattoo. Yeah, it's not long now before they jump on a jet plane and head over to Canada. Well, the Force drum major display team have been furiously working away behind the scenes on brand new displays and everything. So I'm very excited to see what they're going to bring to this tattoo. It's going to be very interesting. So, yes, what big trip on the cards, and shout out to the Force drum major display team. What an exciting trip that's going to be. And please post all of your displays and stuff to your socials, because I'm dying to see what's going on. So yeah, good luck. The Royal Nova Scotia International Tattoo is quite a big one by all accounts, and does pull international acts from all around. Looking forward to seeing the Force there. Yeah, putting on drum majoring on a global scale. Well done. All right. Okay, one last little news story before we get into competition stuff, all right, because there's plenty of competition stuff. I wanted to give a shout out this week to the Major Sinclair Memorial Pipe Band. Yeah, go on, the Sinclair. Yep, Major Sinclair Memorial have posted something really quite exciting that's happening after the World Championships this year. Don't know if you managed to spot this or not, but this looks to be all sorts of great crack. Yeah, the Major Sinclair Memorial Pipe Band are hosting their first ever World Pipe Band Championship after party. Now, isn't this a good idea? Wow. Yeah, it's going to be held, in Sloane's Bar in Argyle Street in Glasgow. It's going to be a big Ceilidh night, basically. That's it. So Saturday, 16th of August, doors open at 8:30. Hopefully by that time the results will be read out. Anyway, so I don't know. Controversy. Didn't I tell you I'm tap dancing on landmines? Right, so this is Sloane's Bar, Argyle Street in Glasgow, the Major Sinclair Memorial After Worlds After Party. So, yeah, there are tickets for this, however, so I did want to stress that. So if you do want to attend and have a pint or two after the Worlds and a bit of a dance, well then, yeah, contact the Major Sinclair Memorial. Tickets are 20 quid per person, and yeah, they're wanting you to contact them on the socials to arrange your ticket. But yeah, what a great fundraising effort by the band, and hey, what's not to love about that? Because when the World Championships end and our world champions march off, 9 times out of 10, everyone just goes back to their hotel and has a drink or two with their own band, their own friends. Well, this is an opportunity to be out there, go out and be social and have a burl and a dance and a few pints with the piping world. So, yeah, shout out to Major Sinclair. That's very exciting stuff. Yeah, so I might even go to that myself. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, now we were talking about this last night and even the week before on Fuse FM, and we haven't spoke about it here in the podcast much. The tickets for the World Championships have been released for spectators. Yeah. General admission tickets are available now on the glasgowlife.org.uk website. And that's been a bit of a topic over there on Fuse. A lot of people not too happy about this. Yeah, looking at an adult ticket, yeah, for the World Championships on the Friday, if you buy them in advance, they're £13.50 and £19 on the day. And then for the Saturday, they're 25 quid if you buy it in advance, and that's per adult. And if you decide to buy them on the day, then they're 30 quid 50. Ouch. Now, there are various different concessions, of course, for children being under 16s or other concessions, for pensioners or like that. So, yeah, the concession rates are up there on the website, but that is still quite steep. Imagine just rocking up to the gate on the day and dropping 30 quid to get in. Whew. All right. Now, as you can imagine, there are weekend discounted rates. So if you do happen to want to go both days, Friday and Saturday, as I'm sure most people listening right now as a spectator will absolutely want to go on both days, well, you can buy an adult advance ticket for both the Friday and the Saturday for 32 quid. Now, that's not a bad discount, I suppose. But, yeah, the family ticket, if you were to buy them in advance for Friday, Saturday, is 72 quid. Ooh, and don't even ask me for the on-the-day price. Say you turn up on the Friday and you're at the gate and you say, hey, can I buy a ticket for today and for the Saturday as well for the whole family? 92 quid. You're talking the guts of £100 to get a family through the gate. What? Yeah, and that has a lot of people talking. Yeah, the pricing on the tickets this year are a bit steep, to be fair. But that is the sign of the times. Things are only ever increasing in cost. And as a result, they need to cover things with ticket prices. And yeah, with regards to other festivals and stuff like that, it is kind of in line to where things currently are. So that has been a bit of a debate on the show, and people have been saying that, For example, if you were to go to a weekend festival anywhere else, you would expect to pay about the same, if not more. So it is competitive, but us piping folk, yeah, we can be a bit tight sometimes. But it is a consideration, If you are going to be attending the Worlds as a spectator, my advice is get those advance tickets. All right, go to the website now, take advantage of those advance discounts. They're available, and definitely avail of them, because if you don't, then you could be out of pocket. So go to glasgowlife.org.uk and secure your advance tickets. Yeah. Okay, let's get into some competitive piping, shall we? Of which there's plenty to get through. So, yeah, thanks to the Dundee, Perth and Angus branch, there was a competition this past weekend in the Mark Inch. Now, I could be completely not pronouncing that correct, but, yeah, to everyone there in Mark Inch, I think the competition itself was not the best day weather-wise. I'll say that. So, yeah, there was a bit of ducking and diving in under shelters, and the Capes were definitely out for this one. So, yeah, well done to everyone who did brave the inclement weather at Markinch. Let's get into the results then, shall we? Starting with Novice B. Winners on the day were George Watson's College. Second place was Lochgilly High School Junior. Third was Burnt Island District. And fourth was the High School of Dundee. And that was your Novice B. Moving on to Grade 4B then, the winners on the day were City of St Andrews. Go on, St Andrews. Good stuff. Second place was Uddingston Strathclyde. In third place was Arbroath. And fourth was Queen's Ferry, pipes and drums. There you are. Now, Grade 4A, they decided to mix the Grade 4A and the Novice Juvenile A together, and made for an interesting battle. Because in first place then in Grade 4A was Lochgilly High School. Yes, in second place was Govan Community. Third was the Vale of Atholl. Fourth was the High School of Dundee. There you are. So, yeah, made for an interesting battle, that one. I have seen some of the runs, especially, well, I've seen a run there from Govan Community from that, and that was really entertaining. Well done, Govan. All right, moving on to Grade 3 then. Again, on the day, they decided to combine Grade 3 and the juvenile grade. And again, this did make for quite an interesting battle in Grade 3. So, in first place, we had George Watson's College. Yes. In second, we had Burnt Island and District. Third, we had the City of Stirling. Yes. Fourth place was Methil and District. There you are. So quite an interesting grade there. Yeah. I haven't really seen many of the performances. I have seen Uddingston, Strathclyde, and they managed to finish in 5th overall. And I think I managed to see a little clip of Burnt Island. But I think it was just an introduction. It wasn't the full set. So there you go. If anybody has performances from that, please do send it our road and we'll definitely share them out there. Yeah. All right. Moving on to Grade 2 then. Winners on the day were George Watson's College. Second was Methil and District. Third was Burnt Island and District. And fourth was the City of Stirling. There you are. Yeah. And also on the day, it wasn't really a competition as such. It's more of a showcase. But yeah, shout out to the Grade 1 Police Scotland Fife. Ooh, and did they play a tune? Oh, did they ever? Yeah, go and check it out. Trust me, very, very good performance. So yeah, shout out to the Fife Police. Brilliant stuff. Also, on the same day, we also had a competition, thanks to the Ayrshire, Dumfries and Galloway branch, in Girvan. Yeah. Now, Girvan is a place that's pretty close to my heart. I love Girvan town. It's always a place that I always would have stopped on the way to the Worlds and on the way back from the Worlds. And there's a wee chip shop there that we always stopped at, and you got some real mean haggis suppers in there that killed any possible hangover in the road home. Anyway, so I can't remember the name of the chippy. I'm sure someone out there will know what I'm talking about. It's the one at the big car park where everybody stops on their coach and we all go in for haggis suppers. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, if you remember the name of the place, send it in, because I can't remember. bigrabshow@gmail.com. But I love that place. I have a real soft spot for Girvan. Great venue. So moving on, let's get into the results. Enough about haggis suppers, Rab. In Grade 4B then, in first place was Irvine and District. In second was the First Troon Boys Brigade. In third was Helensburgh Clan Clonalquin. Yeah. And in fourth was Kilbarkin. Yes. And Grade 4A, we only had the one band in 4A, and that was Troon Blackrock. There you go. Well done, Troon. In Grade 3, sorry, I'm reading my script here. In Grade 3, in first place, we had Livingston, Caledonia. Now, I seen the performance from Livingston here. Now, it was an MSR performance, so no medley fireworks just yet from Grade 3 in this performance. But, yeah, a lot to enjoy there. Yeah, well done, Livingston. Really stellar run. In second place was Kilbarkin. In third was Stockbridge. And in fourth was Troon Blackrock. And that made up your Grade 3. Yeah, moving on to Grade 2 then on the day. In first place was the City of Edinburgh. Yeah, now I have yet to see their performance. Now, I know they posted it. I think one of the team actually shared it out on socials, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But, yeah, I'm keen to find out what's going on there with the City of Edinburgh. Yeah, clearly something's going right. Winning the first contest out the door. Good stuff. In second place then was Stockbridge, and third was Kilbarkin. And that was your contest in Girvan. Brilliant stuff. So, yeah, we are starting to see bands make that kind of dipping the toe in the water kind of thing. Yeah, so it's brilliant to see, I have to say. And, for those pundits out there like me who are total fans, I do want to say to everyone, take everything you're listening to right now with a pinch of salt. This will not be the final article, all right? Now, from experience, a lot of these competitions that happen early in the year, around May, early June, that's when we're tweaking things. It's whenever things happen in that major championship circle, that's when it all shakes down, and that's when it gets interesting. Yeah. Now, we'll talk more about competition stuff in a wee second. I just wanted to give a bit of a shameless plug this week to Ross Miller. Yeah, I'm sure by now fans of Ross Miller will know exactly what I'm going to get into. Yeah, Ross Miller he's given himself a bit of a challenge where he's going to be playing a tune a day. Yeah, now I know a lot of pipers have done this over the years, and it's very difficult. Not only do you have to find like 30 plus tunes that you know really well and could perform to a really high standard and post them online, I don't know, the actual time and effort spent to play a tune every day, it's no mean feat. So, yeah, I know a good number of you out there have already done it. I have to give a shout out to our $1 a day piping challenge. Yeah, all of the competitors there who pipe every day for 100 days. That's not easy. But, yeah, sometimes you can play the same tunes and it doesn't matter. But for this one, it's a bit of an interesting challenge. A tune a day. So, yeah, just wanted to give a plug this week to Ross Miller, who's going through that challenge. And if you do want to go and check out those tunes and give him encouragement along the way, then, yeah, shout out to Ross Miller. That's just, yeah, good luck. Good luck. All right, back to competition stuff. Just wanted to take a wee break there from looking at competition results. Let's get into this weekend's competition in Cookstown. The Mid-Ulster Pipe Band Championships is here. Now, this is my local competition, just up the road from me. Literally, I'm 10 minutes away from where the venue is. So this couldn't be, closer. This is fantastic. So really looking forward to the Mid-Ulsters. It's one of my favourite venues, not just because it's on my doorstep, but I think it's a really cracking good venue. Now, there are some changes to the venue this year, and I do want everyone to be aware of them. There are differences in the car parking arrangements. There will be a charge for you to park your vehicle there. I think it's £5 for a car, and there's another charge if you want to park a coach there, for example. And there will be a difference as to where the competition arenas will be. They will now no longer be in the lower playing pitches where they normally are. They'll be up on the height, as we say here in Northern Ireland. They'll be up there in what is known as like the tennis court area. It's like way up on the height, as we say. So, yeah, you'll know what I mean whenever you get there. You'll be directed to where the competition is, which may be a bit of a distance away from where the car park is. So there is a shuttle bus that will be available. So, I know some people hate shuttle buses. So, yeah, that's for those people who don't want to make that walk, maybe carrying a bass drum or two or a gazebo over your shoulder. But there is a shuttle bus service available and you can avail of it. It's free of charge. There you are. For full details, of course, on everything to do with the Mid-Ulster Championships, including your gazebos and all of your requirements and such, then you are advised to go to the rspbani.org website and go and follow all the links there for the Mid-Ulster Championships. All the details are up there now. Now, recently, I was come home from work today, and I've seen the signs up around my hometown. Pipe band competition, big arrows pointing, and that's exciting. It's great to see when a pipe band competition is being advertised in advance. So, yeah, shout out to the Mid-Ulster section. Great to see that. All right, let's get into the draw for this weekend's Mid-Ulster. Starting with Grade 4B, there's 12 bands here in total, so quite a big grade for 4B. Let's go through it. Kicking things off at 11 a.m. in the morning, we have Down Academy, followed by Hollymount. Then we have the Major Sinclair Memorial. Then we have McDonald Memorial. Then we have Rafferty and Tullylagan. Go on, the Lagan. I have to do that. Yeah, then we have Craigline. Am I pronouncing that right? That was the one that JD had the weekly drone on. Carrigaline. Yeah, apologies if I pronounced that wrong again. Right, moving on. We had Letterkenny and District who are also making the trip up. We have Kirkestown will be there too. Brady Ulster Scots, the Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band, and then finishing things up, band number 12 is the Joseph Ford Memorial. Quite a big grade there for Grade 4B. Starts at 11 a.m. and doesn't finish until nearly 12:30, so that's a long time. It's a big grade there for the Mid-Ulsters. Great to see. Brilliant stuff. All right, moving on to Grade 4A then. We have 9 bands in total here for 4A. We have Altnavay Memorial kicking things off, followed by the Black Raven. Now, I believe this will be the first chance this year to see the Black Raven in the contest circle north of the border. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the Black Raven. Yeah. Followed by that, we'll have Down Academy, yes, Thiepville Memorial. Then we'll have Rafo Ulster Scots. Then we have Moneygore. I believe this is their first outing of the season also. We have the Graham Memorial Clontibricht making the trip up. Yeah, and we also have Grantia and Cottown, which I believe we haven't seen either band this season yet. So, again, this will be the first outing for those two. So, yeah, good luck to everyone there. 9 bands in 4A. Another big grade. Moving on to Grade 3B then, we've 7 bands in total in here. Kicking things off, we have the William Kerr Memorial. Then we have Moneygore. Then we have Surla District, Ballybully, Upper Crossgar, Grantia, and Drumlock. Yeah, so we do have a few bands who are playing up, and that's no bad thing. Yeah, so that's your Grade 3B. And I have to see, whenever I was watching the competition in Enniskillen, 3B was very, very competitive. So good luck, everyone there. Moving on to Grade 3A. Yeah, this is a huge grade. We've 12 bands in here, with quite a number from 3B challenging up. So great to see those bands pushing there, yeah. Okay, kicking things off in 3A, we have Clocker and District, followed by the Major Sinclair Memorial, who are throwing that After Worlds party. I might have to have a word with them in Cookstown to get a ticket. Then we have Ballybully Pipe Band, followed by Surla and District. Then we have Kildogue, Drumlock, Clough-Finn, Cullabackie, McNeilstown, Irvine Memorial, the Matt Boyd Memorial, and then the William Kerr Memorial. There you are. So quite a number of bands in there that are definitely worth their salt. I have to say, there's so many bands in there that can really thump out a tune. So, yeah, looking forward to that grade. 12 bands in 3A. That's, again, another big grade. This is a big contest, man. All right, moving on to Grade 2 then, shall we? Yeah, Major Sinclair Memorial are opening things up, and they're challenging up in Grade 2. There's a bit of a theme here. There's a number of bands challenging up in Grade 2. Yeah, so the Major Sinclair will be there, along with Clough-Finn, McNeilstown, and Kildogue, who are all challenging up in Grade 2. We then have Manor Cunningham making the trip to Cookstown. Now, I believe this will be the first we'll get to see Manor in the circle this year, and yeah, I know for one, I'm very excited to see them. Really looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring there musically. Exciting stuff. Then we have the Tullylagan Pipe Band. Yoo-hoo! Yes, their Grade 2 outfit. And I believe this will be the first we'll see the Grade 2 band in the competition circle also. So that's going to be exciting. We also have Irvine Memorial and Clocker and District wrapping up the grade there. So 8 bands in total and quite a number challenging up there. Yeah, and that was a bit of a topic last night. There was a few people texting in about that, asking what my opinion was of people who challenge up a grade. And yeah, I'm all for it, to be fair. I think it's great to see when bands are pushing for that next level. Yeah, I think it's exciting. You know, and sometimes it can be the cat amongst the pigeons too, so that can be a fun element, I guess. Maybe not fun for some. But yeah, I think it's an interesting dynamic, that one. Brilliant to see bands pushing that envelope. And yeah, I'm all for it. But I'm sure you folks can disagree. Yeah, you can email me on bigrabshow@gmail.com. All right, let's move on to Grade 1 then. Yes, we do have a Grade 1 at Cookstown. And we have 2 bands in here, of course. We have Ravara, who was seen in Enniskillen and really thumped out a tune, followed by Closkelt. Yes, now I'm very excited to see Closkelt this year. And yeah, I believe this is the first we'll see them in the competition circle too. So yeah, it's disappointing that we don't have the likes of Field Marshal there or St. Lawrence O'Toole or other, you know, Grade 1 bands from the island, I guess. It would have been great to see them in Cookstown. It would have been a lot of fun, you know, having the 4 Grade 1 bands in there jugging it out, giving each other black eyes. But it's not to be, I guess. So yeah, we'll wait for that to happen. It will happen. I can guarantee it. Yeah, because we know there's some big championships on this side of the Irish Sea, and yeah, we have a number of Grade 1 bands, yeah, who are keen to duke it out. But this weekend in Cookstown, we have Ravara and Closkelt. That's going to be an interesting battle, that one. Yeah, good stuff. So also, we have a wealth of drum majors. We have 3 heats worth of novice grades. We have 3 for the juniors. Let me check out the others. Yeah, we nearly have 4 heats for the juveniles, but yeah, 3 heats for the juveniles and 2 for the adults. There you are. So, not going to read all the hashtag list. There's loads of you drum majors in there. You're going to be competing all day by the looks of things, given the sheer volume of people involved. So, Cookstown competition, the Mid-Ulster Championships in Cookstown this weekend is shaping up to be one of the biggest contests, and yeah, that I've seen in Cookstown now for years. And it's fantastic to see. So, yeah, shout out to everyone who's going to be competing this weekend. Have a good tune. The very best of luck. Now, again, to answer questions about my own competing, there's been people asking me all the time, Rab, are you going to be competing this weekend? I didn't see you in Enniskillen. Yeah, the way a band practice went Monday night for me wasn't too great, to be honest. So I don't know if I'm going to be in the circle on Saturday or not. That's just the truth. So, yeah, will I be competing? I don't know. That's completely up to the pipe major. That's on their decision, you know. I don't know. All right, I hope that answers your question. I have no idea. Let's move on. Right, I'm going to talk about the draw for the Lisburn and Castlereagh Championships. Now, I'm not going to give a hashtag list. I'm just going to go through the numbers here because I do want to get into a huge news story before we get into this week's topic. Yeah, we're going to talk about the UK's. But first, I do want to talk about the Lisburn and Castlereagh competition that's fast approaching. Looking at Grade 4B, 10 bands in there. Brilliant. Grade 4A, we have 9. Grade 3B, we have 6. Grade 3A, we have 12. Whew, big grade in 3A. Moving on to Grade 2, we have 8. And then in Grade 1, we have Ravara, who's doing a bit of a showcase for us that day. There you are. That's the Lisburn and Castlereagh Championships. Exciting. Do you know, it's brilliant to see such great numbers, you know, for bands all across these competitions in Northern Ireland. It proves that things are very healthy here, to be honest. Great entries for these competitions. So for full details on all of these, all right, yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there. Go to the RSPBA Northern Ireland website for all the details along with your draw and, all of that. So also to answer questions about live streaming and filming and all that kind of stuff, yeah, our Rab Show team members will be there at Cookstown this weekend and any other competition for that matter. But, yeah, all of us are competitors in our own right. And, we're in the scene that we're reporting on. And sometimes getting timings in that correct can be incredibly difficult. And sometimes we're able to film things. Sometimes we just can't physically be in two places at once. We do try to live stream results when we can. Sometimes we're pretty limited with mobile signal and stuff like that. So, yeah, we will try this weekend in Cookstown to film everything that moves, every performance in the circle that we can capture, including the drum major action as well. And yes, for those all-important results, we will do our best to get a live stream of those as well. So if you do want to keep across that detail as it happens, then, yeah, you know what to do. Follow us on YouTube and on our socials on the Big Rab Show Facebook page, and we'll do our best to keep you across developments as they happen this weekend in Cookstown. It's going to be an exciting weekend. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. It seems that it has taken me this long to get into what everyone is talking about today. Yeah. Today, the draw for the UK Championships took place and was published online. Now, where do I even start with this? All right, we knew that this was either going to be really good news or it was going to be terrible. And it depends on what way you look at it. Now, I'm going to go through the draw here for the UK, similar as to what I did for the Mid-Ulster Championships, and I want you to keep in mind the sheer numbers of what I was talking about there at the Mid-Ulsters in comparison to this, a major championship. All right, let's go through this. Major championship, UK's 12th of July in Edinburgh, starting with Novice Juvenile B. We have 6 bands in here. We have Bucksburn District Novice. We have North Lanarkshire Schools. And we also have the PLC Pipe Band from Melbourne in Australia. Yeah, the Presbyterian Ladies College. Brilliant. Really looking forward to seeing them, actually. Then we also have Burnt Island District, Lochgilly High School, and the Isle of Arran Music School. And that's your Novice B. Now, Novice A, we have 2 bands in here. Oh, so is the writing on the wall already? Novice Juvenile A, we have Lochgilly High School and People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate, Caledonia. And that's it. That's your Novice A for the UK Championships. Oh boy. All right, moving on. Looking at Grade 4B, Major Championship. I'm going to keep saying that. We've 12 bands in here. Yeah. Kicking things off, we have Uddingston Strathclyde. Then we have Greyfriars Pipes and Drums, followed by Irvine and District, the City of Inverness, Barhead and District, Paisley and District, Arbroath, Dunoon Argyll, Granite City, Penwick and District, Badenoch and Strathspey. And I don't know that band, to be honest, so I'll have to do my research on them. We also have Donator Pipes and Drums. Now, I could probably completely mispronounce that also, so apologies. But there you are. Grade 4B, first major of the year. 12 bands in there. All right, moving on. Grade 4A, major championship. I keep saying that. 12 bands. Right. Kicking things off in Grade 4A, we have Coulter and District, Second on the line, we have Denny and Dunnypace. Then we have the Vale of Atholl, followed by Troon Blackrock, East Ayrshire Caledonia Pipe Band. Then we have Strathendrick. Then the Black Raven are making the trip across. So great to see that. Yeah, good stuff, Black Raven. Then we also have Elgin in District. We have Perth in District, Govan Community, Kirkcaldy in District, and Stockbridge. And that's your grade 4A. Okay. Now, I have bought a brand new fancy machine. You might be able to tell that the audio sounds a little bit different. And I'm going to start using sound effects. All right. Now, if this becomes obnoxious, please let me know. But I want to say it again. It's a major championship. Yeah, I wanted to say that. I'm sorry, headphone users. It's a major championship and on to grade 3B. And we have 8 bands in here. Oh, right. Okay. Let's kick things off in grade 3B. Then we have the J1225 Pipe Band. Now, as to who they are, I have not the first clue. So if anyone has any detail on the J1225 Pipe Band, please let me know. I am absolutely fascinated to learn more. I have no clue who they are, but want to learn more. Then we'll have the Tweedvale Pipe Band, followed by the Air Pipe Band Society. Then we have Camlin in District, Wollaston in District, Scottish Borders, Mid-Argyll, and Stockbridge. And that's your grade 3B. Let's move on. Now, things do get a little healthier. Looking at grade 3A, quite a number in here, to be fair. Quite a good number of bands in here. And I'm excited for grade 3A. Yeah. Kicking things off, we have Macanta, followed by Mulgai. Then we have Buchan Peterson, Mackenzie Caledonian, Methuen District, Arbroath, City of Inverness, Uddingston Strathclyde. Then we have Livingston Caledonia, Burnt Island in District, 1245 to be specific. Then we have the City of Newcastle, Texo, Deeside Caledonia, Johnstone, their 3A band. We have, the City of London, the City of Stirling Pipe Band, followed by Dunbar, RBL, and then Pitlochry and Blair Atholl. And that's quite a big grade there in 3A. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. That is quite a competitive lot in there. And any band who comes out on that top 3 spot there, they're doing well. That's quite a competitive, good stuff. All right, moving on. Grade 2, then we have 10 bands in total. Not magical, but not bad either. Let's go through the details. We have Grampian Police from Scotland. Yeah, Grampian Police Scotland. I was going to say from Scotland, but of course that's where they're from. But yeah, I believe this is the first that we'll see them in the contest circle in an outdoor competition. I could be stuff that Rab got wrong. Or maybe they have some outings ahead of this major planned. So, hey, we'll look forward to that. I'm excited to see Grampian Police, actually. I haven't seen their performances yet. So if anyone has any clips from Grampian Police, send them my road. I would love to see them. We also have Buchan Peterson then. Then we have the Royal Borough of Annan, followed by Bucksburn in District. And next, we have Worcester Kilty. I could just about talk. Worcester Kilty. There you are. Second attempt. But yeah, making the trip across from the United States. I'm excited to see them, actually. Brilliant. Then we have Uddingston jugging it out. Then we have the Vale of Atholl, of course, newly upgraded now. That's exciting. So looking forward to seeing them. Then we have Denny and Dunnypace Pipe Band Association, followed by the Glasgow Sky. Go on, the Sky. Good stuff. Then we have Colburn IOR, and that's your grade 2. There you are. So not a bad grade by all accounts. You know, there's quite a few notable omissions of some bands that we would love to see, but there's also an inclusion that we weren't expecting. So yeah, shout out to Worcester Kilty, whose name I butchered earlier. But I got it on the second attempt. All right. Let's get into grade 1, shall we? And I'm going to do it again. It's a major championship, everybody. 3 bands. There's 3 bands in here. Like, come on. 3 bands in grade 1. And this, I don't know, I think this is the reason my phone is blown up today. The 3 bands that we have competing here at the UK Championships, St. Lawrence O'Toole, Johnstone, and People's Ford, Boghall and Bathgate, Caledonia. Yeah, there's a lot of big names missing. So no matter what happens now If you're in a Grade 1 band and you're going to be in that circle as one of those 3 bands, you're at least guaranteed a 3rd place. I have no words. I've been trying to think of what to say and to, sound profound in some way, but there's no way to kind of paint this. This is so disappointing. But the writing was on the wall. We spoke about this in numerous shows whenever it was announced, when, where, all of that. Whenever we spoke all about this, we thought this would happen. And here's the evidence right in front of us. We have 3 bands entered for Grade 1 at the first major championship of the season. Now, is that a sign of the times? We just don't know. Or is it the date? Is it the venue? What is it? We've already spoke about this until we went round in circles. We've brought on some expert guests to talk about this as well. And we encouraged all of you to draw your own conclusions. So, are we excited to see these 3 bands in the circle? Yeah, absolutely we are. This is going to be a blistering competition between these 3. And trust me, I think all 3 of these bands will definitely be keen to win. Yeah, this is not going to be a walk in the park. These 3 bands are going to do what they can to lift that top spot. So, yeah, is it any less of a competition because we don't have some of the other big guns in there duking it out? I don't know. I'll leave that for you to decide. Is it disappointing as a spectator that we won't have as much fireworks in the Grade 1 circle? Yes, absolutely it is. Me as a piping fan, of course, I would love to see a lot of Grade 1 bands in there, throwing it down, as they do with every UK Championships. And this one, it's just disappointing. That is the only way I could kind of describe it. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I would love to know your opinions on this as well. You can email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, it's not all bad news, okay? Looking through those other grades, like especially Grade 3A, 17 bands in there. Grade 2, quite respectable as well, with 10. I don't know. For a major championship, you're expecting big numbers and like a lot of big shots in there, duking it out for that prestigious title. And I don't know, has the shine been taken off of this a little bit? I think. I don't know. I would love to know your opinions on this. I think I've tap danced on that landmine enough. But we had said for a while that the writing was on the wall and that we may see a reduction in entries. What I can see here, notably, now I know I'm kind of biased, I'm based in the Northern Irish scene. I don't think there's any bands in there from Northern Ireland at all. There's no bands from the RSPBA Northern Ireland branch competing in the UK Championships. And that's where I'm going to leave that. So, yeah, this is one, folks, where I would like you to draw your own conclusions with this. It's not good. It's the first major championship of the year, one of which that we should be really excited for and just, champing at the bit to get through the gate to find, that there just isn't as much action as there would normally be at a major championship. Now, don't take me the wrong way. I'm still absolutely excited for Wall, potentially crowning UK champions in all of our grades. I do think that it's going to be a very competitive competition, even though there is some reduced numbers. That does not detract from it in the slightest. But is it less exciting for regular Joe Blogs on the streets? Yeah, and I would argue that possibly it is. So, that's where I'm coming from. That's why I'm saying that it's possibly disappointing. You can take that as you will. And, I am hopeful, however, as we're seeing the wealth of entries, not just the competitions here in Northern Ireland. I knew I made a reference to it there. But, things are quite healthy at the minute for the minors. And that kind of suggests to me that it's the date. It's the choice of date here that has affected things. And we did talk about that at length in previous Rab shows. If you do want to go and listen to all that commentary, of course, you can go back. It's all in previous episodes where we really get into the weeds with it. Will there be, lessons learned or anything to consider going forward? I don't know. I don't think so. I believe this is kind of a one-off. on this occasion, where this venue had the free date and it was either take it or leave it. So, in my opinion, we're better to take it. We're actually better to have a major championship on the books than to have none at all. Yeah, which has been the case with another major that will remain nameless. Anyway, so folks, with all of the commentary and the opinions that's flying around about the UK Championships right now, I do want you to keep that in mind. That's what I'm going to wrap up that news story with, is that, yes, it may well be disappointing. That's my opinion. Yours could differ. But, yeah, we still have a championships on the books. All right? What could have potentially happened is that we could not have had a UK championship at all. Yeah. So do take that into consideration before you start typing in your comments on social media. Yeah. All right. Well, I did tell you there was going to be a bit of a downer, but yeah, we'll look forward to the UK's all the same. It is always a blistering competition, and as I've mentioned there's a lot of those grades in there where I just would not want to try and choose a winner, you know? Yikes. So good luck to everyone there that is going to be competing at the UK's. We will definitely be watching all of the action, of course. And yeah, we do hope that Big Rab Show team members will be there to catch all the action for you. So we will be across all of that. So if you do want to see those runs and performances and maybe you can't make the trip, then yeah, we'll do our best to capture every moment as it happens. Yeah. All right. I'm going to try and end on a bit of a positive note. All right. Yes, I know I spoke all about that negativity for ages. Bit of a news story. We always love it when new music has been unveiled, and I have to give a shout out to the Simon Fraser University Pipe Band. Whoa! Have you seen this? Man, it absolutely blew my socks off. Yeah, they've unveiled a brand new medley that they performed at the Victoria Highland Games, and they published a video of it there not too long ago, a couple of days ago. And the medley itself is called The Drunken Landlady. This medley, if you're a drumming fan, I think there's a lot to enjoy here for drumming fans. Reed Maxwell and the guys there really are thumping out the business here. If you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor, go along, check out Simon Fraser University on their socials. They've been publishing it out now and sharing it for a little while. Yeah, The Drunken Landlady medley, especially for drummers. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot happening piping-wise too, but for me, it was the drumming that jumped out. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, so do you know something? I'm going to give us another little pick-me-up, I guess. You know, after all the negativity about the UKs and stuff, let's talk about something exciting, shall we? Something that we're actually looking forward to. Well, something I'm looking forward to. I noticed this on social media just a few days ago. Yeah, Kyle Warren is releasing a brand new book. Oh, yeah, he's releasing a brand new collection of tunes. And yeah, I had to catch up with him to find out more about this. So, of course, hot off the back of Eat, Sleep, Pipe, Repeat, yeah, let's welcome Kyle Warren to the show. So, welcome to the show, Kyle Warren. Kyle, how are you, man?
I'm good, thanks, Rab. Thanks for having me.
Not very well here. If anything, we're about to get into something really quite exciting that you're up to. But first of all, I wanted to find out more about yourself recently. How's things been with you? It's been a while since we were last chatting.
Yeah, good, thanks. I think a lot's happened. I mean, we were in Australia for 5 years, but it's almost now 5 years since we've been back already. So I think as you get older, time just goes so quick, doesn't it? And
it does. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, so yeah, it's funny. Because yeah, we are like very much in Scotland now. We were a couple of years on the West Coast and a couple of years in Edinburgh, and now we've just moved a little bit north into Perthshire. So no, things are good. But yeah, very much established with the family life kind of side of things here now, which is lovely. And yeah, piping away and try my best to do bits and bobs.
There you go. So, well, speaking of bits and bobs, let's talk about it. Yeah, you've been putting out announcements on your socials about something quite exciting coming up. Obviously, following the release of Eat, Sleep, Pipe, Repeat, which we talked to you about before in the show, and we're still playing music from that now on the radio. You've been working on something else quite exciting now, Kyle. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so that last book, Eat, Sleep, Pipe, Repeat, that was actually 5 years ago as well. So again, it's one of those things where I feel like
That's
it's going
crazy.
Exactly. I thought it was like 2 years, maybe 3 at the most. And when I realised it's 5, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to try and release some more music. I had an album 2.5 to 3 years ago now as well, 2022. I released Relentless. And I think, yeah, there's just moments where they're kind of like little musical stamps of like what you're doing or what I guess musically in that moment you like or you're enjoying. So going to release my third collection, my third book this August. And in that time period between the last book, those last 5 years, I realized I had over 700 recordings on my phone.
700?
Now,
oh my word!
Yeah, when you start going through them, you do question, like why certain things, like at the time, felt like a good idea, and then you listen back and think, okay, that's horrendous. We'll scrap that right now. So 700 becomes a lot less quite quickly. But I was thinking, like, if there's 10% that's good here, then there's more than enough for a book, obviously. So that was kind of I didn't want to have 1,000 recordings on my phone. I thought I better kind of work through this now, stamp again, like kind of put that little marker in musically where I'm at, why I'm writing what I'm writing, what's inspiring me, or what am I active in at the moment. It definitely shifts your focus, I think, on how you write and what you're writing at the time. And it felt like a good time to get another book out, and it's fun. I like composing, and it's nice to share your music. It's a bit daunting as well. There's definitely a big side about that as well. But overall, it feels like a good time. So August this year, obviously Piping Live being a great time of year to be around in Scotland as well. The book will come out.
There you go. Excellent. Well, do you know what? It's quite interesting that you're mentioning that. Like, you've had like hundreds of ideas, because recently I watched a bit of a documentary about the Beatles. Like, I'm a bit of a fan of the Beatles, and, John and Paul, the guys. And apparently they had hundreds and hundreds of like demo recordings of songs that just never seen the light of day. So that's kind of your process as well here then, Kyle. The hundreds of ideas. Yeah.
It is. I think like a lot of the time, I teach full time as well. So when you're in that moment and you're like, sometimes, you're in between lessons, and it's not like you've got a big period of time, but there may be like a minute or two, even when a pupil comes in and they're getting their pipes together and they're getting sorted. I usually just kind of jam away in the chanter, and probably almost every student's probably witnessed to me saying, "Hold on a wee second, I'm just going to press record here," and I'll get that 10 or 20 seconds that was in my head down, and then I'll revisit it. But again, it could be like months or something before I revisit that, and sometimes that's the moment where you press delete because you wondered why you thought that was a good idea, or even because it was a 5-year span, I was going back and some ideas come back again like 6 months or a year later. So that's quite funny. I don't know why that happens. Wow. It's interesting, how you can link back, and you think you've got two tunes sometimes, and you realise, oh no, that's the same one.
I was wondering, has that ever happened? Has like an idea come round again? More than once.
The biggest fear about ideas as well is guessing, like figuring out where they've came from. Like, I guess it's a bit obvious if you've been listening to like a certain album or a certain style for a while, and you're thinking, okay, I'll maybe just go back and double check that I didn't get this idea from there or something. And I mean, as you know, like we've only got 9 notes, so I guess as a composer, my biggest fear is like it's someone else's idea. That is just the biggest fear, and I think partly that's why I don't know how I would describe my style. I don't know if anyone would have an opinion if I do have a style, but I think I do write fairly maybe technical, like kind of a lot of technique in tunes, and it's partly maybe almost like a defense mechanism of like, well, I know that this style or that like certain embellishments are maybe more considered modern now, or the way you arrange them, or syncopation, maybe these things are a bit more modern, give or take. So maybe that's at least hopefully narrowing down. Okay, it's not going to be like that period of time from a composer, but obviously you're still then slightly concerned about all the great composers of today, that might be like, you just don't want your tune to be someone else's. Clearly, that would be a disaster. Oh. So fingers crossed. You're writing with honesty. We've got 9 notes. Something's going to happen at some point where a phrase is way too similar. But fingers crossed. Touch wood that we'll have 50 tunes that are unique enough that they're worth adding to the tradition as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say, like, since the release of your last book and even your album as well, there's been a lot of people that have been playing it, all in trad circles and all the rest, but also in bands as well. Have you found that? What's it like hearing your tunes out in the wild?
Yeah, I'll never get tired of that at all. It's the biggest accolade, isn't it, when someone else feels it worthy enough to spend their time to learn your tune, and then if it makes its way into like a public performance as well, like whether it's a concert or like you say the pipe band circle as well, and especially of course like everyone looks up to Grade One. It's a great place to be, and again when you hear bands playing your tune, it's that I was always like inspired by obviously composers when I was younger, and seeing that process or hearing that and thinking, oh, wouldn't that be cool? And of course when that happened for the first time, I think the first time a Scottish Grade 1 band played one of my tunes. It was Scottish Power. So, what a great band to pick up a tune. Chris Armstrong, I had lessons with Chris when I was at university, and he's always been a great supporter of my music, and I think they've played 4 or 5 tunes over the years. So yeah, it's really nice to hear that level of band obviously playing your tune. So yeah, that hopefully there'll be maybe 1 or 2 in this book that a few bands will like as well. It's quite a mix. I guess of variety in the book and what might fit a pipe band or might fit a concert stage or might fit getting a backing band and giving it going fast and hard with a guitar.
Gain it loudly, I think that's the phrase. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah. So I'm not looking for any spoilers or anything like that about content or that, but you were saying that there's going to be quite a different mix of tunes in here. Is there any sort of a flavour as to, is it all like going to be marches, hornpipes, jigs, or is it going to be like a mix of like everything?
Yeah, it's obviously certainly light music to start with, and I would say predominantly very much modern light music. There is a lot of jigs in there. There's a lot of reels. Again, I don't know why. That's just what's on the recordings over the last kind of 3 or 4 or 5 years. There's a couple of marches in there, like a couple of 6/8 and 9/8, those kind of more traditional idioms. But even then, maybe 1 or 2 of them have a quirk as to why they're maybe a bit more modern in style. I think there's 4 marches, and again, like 2 of them feel like they could be really driven. They could work really well with a backing band and a bit more like kind of, I guess, maybe like in a folk delivery, folk style delivery. And there's a couple that I do feel would be quite nicely in a nice setting of like a solo recital or a band, or someone playing the tune at home and then maybe performing it at a gig or whatnot. So yeah, there's quite I think there's a balance. Ideally, you want there to be something for everyone, and composing and music's so subjective, so that's always the fear. I think they're worth publishing. It's whether anyone else likes them or not is the tricky part. But yeah, I'll tell you something that I think is a bit interesting. Like composing with purpose. Like if you're trying to like help, fill a space in a pipe band medley, then there's obviously parameters. You might know what tune you're coming from and where you're going next. And obviously with competition, you might feel like you want to play it a certain way or whatever. You've got to core it with 20, 25 pipers, whatever. So that gives you a purpose, which can be really good. And other times can be, I guess it's limiting depending on how you want to view that. But I think I've got this story right. I'm convinced I saw a video of Emmett Conway teaching at a workshop, and I'm going to see him actually next week, so I'll need to ask him if this is true or not. I'm in my head, hazy memory of Emmett teaching, and he was talking about a one-handed tune because a piper in the war lost his other hand or his other arm. And I think it was a slow air. And then I just watched that and thought, that's an interesting kind of rule to play by. I'm just going to try and write a one-handed tune here. So the first tune I wrote was like a slow air. I think, well, that could be handy for learners as well, for anyone that's teaching. And sometimes, maybe we've all had those pupils that are maybe a wee bit small, maybe covering the holes is tricky. So you think, right, let's just start with the top band and take the stress of low G away. So I wrote a wee slow air, which I thought was nice. And then I thought, I'm going to try and push this more. Can I write a jig? Can I write a reel? And more kind of technical and fancy, but still one-handed. And so there's 3 tunes in the book that are literally top-handed tunes. Which I don't even know. I'm hopeful that they're good enough that you wouldn't even notice unless I'm going to say, hey, by the way, did you notice that you didn't use your bottom hand? You could literally take it off. You could retune your drones as you play as a party piece. You could take a swing of something to keep you going. And I just thought, why not? It's a bit different. It's a bit quirky, and it gave me a bit of a purpose and a challenge, which I quite enjoy at times. That kind of
that's brilliant.
Giving yourself a bit of some rules sometimes is helpful. And then sometimes obviously it's nice to be free, but then if you're too free, the page can be blank for a while because you don't know where to start.
I can understand. Where do you begin? So you were talking there about Piping Live and the book hopefully being launched in August. Do you know whether it be an event or anything for people to go and grab it, or?
So it'll definitely be around. That's the plan. Whether we can get like a live performance or whether we can get a wee stall. There's historically been a bit of a trade fair recently over the last few years. It'd be nice to be there. That's the kind of the plan and the hope. So we are at the start of June, so I have been in touch briefly, but definitely got to see what's possible to lock in. Certainly it'll be available. I'm certain of that come August in the shop. Even if there's nothing too snazzy and whatnot to get it out, but it's a great time of year, isn't it? It's the best week to be in Glasgow. That's
it is. It is. It's the Christmas of the bagpiping world. Honestly, it is. So, well, at the moment, obviously, you're working away busily now trying to get the book to print. So I believe you have a bit of a crowdfunding effort coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's something I've done in the past with the last album and last book as well. Obviously, it's one way to promote what you're trying to do. So hopefully, in that sense, it might just kind of reach a wee bit further than how I can personally reach, one-to-one. So hopefully that will maybe build some traction. And it usually, if you've obviously seen artists do that before, sometimes it's the one opportunity to maybe join in at a new level, I guess. Like once the book's published, that's what exists. But if there's a chance there to name a tune after someone special, that's something I've done in the past. As one of those rewards, obviously, for contributing to the book. Things like that can be extremely helpful for artists. Music is not only kind of the passion and whatnot, but it is the full-time job. So you've got to try your best to monetize it, which is a hard thing to talk about at times, because for a lot of people it is just a hobby. I say that in the nicest way, because I almost wish it was just a hobby for me, because then you could have your 9 to 5, wherever that 9 to 5 is, you could close the door and forget about it. You go to band and have a great time. But if you've been teaching pipes all day, sometimes the last thing you want to do is go to band. So
I'm sure, yeah.
You can't have it all. You can't have your cake and eat it. It is the dream job to be a piper full time, but it does come with challenges. So in that sense, like creating a book is really, it's an exciting place to be. But yeah, you are trying to also be clever about, is there a way to monetize this to a certain limit where hopefully it can then support more music and that cycle continues in a positive way.
Oh, absolutely. So, well, Kyle, I think given the success of your previous publications and recordings, I think this one's going to go gangbusters. Yeah, I know some people are so excited for this already, myself included. I can't wait to see what's in the covers of this.
Well, thanks, Rob. It's exciting. It's looking forward to getting it out, and like you say, hopefully one day you hear one of those tunes again. Someone playing it, and which is that's the best thing as a composer for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So keep us across the details of it, the release and all of that, and the crowdfunding as well. Keep us across all of that, and we'll certainly let folks listening right now to know where to go. Yeah. So thanks a million, Kyle, for joining us on the show, and every success with this. Thanks a million.
Thanks for having me, Rab. All the best. Take care.
Cheers.
There you are. A massive thank you to Kyle for joining us on the show this week. And I thought that was, we needed to bring that to the show. Kind of perk us up a little bit after all the negativity. But that's really something quite exciting there, honestly. I'm a huge fan of Kyle Warren's work. Seriously, we're constantly playing his music on Fuse all the time. This is exciting. Brand new release that's due to drop on shelves around August. So, we'll keep you across the details of that, including any crowdfunding efforts, all that sort of stuff. And, go and visit Kyle Warren Bagpipes on socials for more information and keep across any sort of updates as they come. Yeah. All right, folks, that's it for news and updates. I'm going to draw a line under it at this point. If there has been anything that we've talked about on this week's show that has been controversial, or you have any differing opinions, or indeed is there stuff that Rab got wrong, then please do email us in. bigrabshow@gmail.com. The address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Or, of course, you can reach us on our weekly drone feature. It's completely anonymous, and you can let us know your feelings, warts and all, about everything that we just talked about the UK Championships and everything there. Plus all the positive stuff too in Kyle's new book. Looking forward to that. Yeah. All right. Well, I think at this point in the show, I think enough's enough. I think it's time for me to go and get a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week.
Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies for all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Gilly Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs. Right, folks, I want to tell you about a brilliant new app called MusoLink. It's from Matt Fraser. Yeah, the same guy behind the B-flat tuner. And it's all about helping you track your music practice smarter. You can record your sessions using AI, add notes, get reports, and keep yourself accountable. But what really makes it stand out is the social side. It's like Strava for pipers. You can follow your mates, give them kudos, leave comments, and stay motivated together. Loads of bands are already on board, including Scots College, Hawthorne, and loads of others who are making big moves. So, if you're prepping for this year's World Championships or just want to get better, search for Musolink on the App Store now. And once you're there, why not give the Big Rab Show a follow and we can push each other over the line.
Hello, this is Fred Morrison, and you're listening to the Big Rab Show.
Yes, indeed. Time for Topic of the Week. Yeah, that cup of tea, honestly, went down a treat this week. We seem to have covered a lot of ground already on this week's show, but we're nowhere near finished because, yeah, we've got quite an interesting topic for you this week. Okay, so the first in our Meet the Band series is Uddingston Strathclyde, and with us are two quite knowledgeable characters from the band. I'll let you introduce yourself first of all, though. We'll start with Callum.
I'm Callum, I'm lead drummer this year. I've took over from Lauren last year, who had to sadly step down for work. So I've took over the band this year and really looking forward to it, and it's going very well.
There you go. But you've been with the band now for a few years, is that right?
Aye, so I'm coming into my third season now with the band. So before Uddingston Strathclyde, I was at the North Lanarkshire Schools band and came up through there. So that was my background in terms of learning.
I see. So now taking on a leadership role, it's quite a big challenge then for this year, but looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Definitely a massive change in terms of being the man in the middle of that core. It's something it was quite daunting to go with, and obviously with Guruk and Sunday, and nerves are hitting a wee bit just being able to cross that white line for the first time, but I'm looking forward to it.
That's it. Just at the point of us recording this, just for our listeners listening, that we are recording this just before Guruk. So nobody's actually heard your music at this point, but I'm sure by the time this goes out, everyone's heard it. They've probably checked out all the performances. But yeah, good luck for that, Callum. But also joining us is Cammy as well. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad at all. So I'm Cammy. I'm the pipe major of the 3A band for Uddingston Strathclyde. This will be my second season. I came in just right before the season last year, actually just to help tune drones, to be honest. But how things change, and my sort of background, I suppose, I came through the George Watson's college system under Ross Harvey and Ian Simpson were kind of the driving forces behind my learning of pipes, I suppose, and then kind of knocked around a wee bit after school at a couple of bands, and then post-COVID landed here. So really looking forward to the season. Like I say, obviously it's first contest week this week, so it's all becoming quite real. And as Callum says, just kind of excited to get over the white line more than anything, and just get out there and show folk what we've been doing over the winter, how hard we've been working to get to where we are now. But yeah, really excited.
So it's all systems go at this point then. Yeah, so from drone tuner to pipe major is quite a step as well.
Yeah. It was one of our drummers, Stuart Aitken. Sure, we'll talk about him later on. He's a bit of a recruitment expert, to put it lightly, to be honest. You think he was actually looking for tenor drummers at the time to come down to the band, and he happened to spot my name on Facebook because, you fancy coming down, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, I'll come down, tune some drones, help out. A couple of weeks later, here's the music, see how you go. If you fancy dipping your toe in again, because I hadn't played in a couple of years, kind of taking a step back in COVID just to focus on uni and things like that. And then 6 months later, Pete, who stepped down, kind of popped the question, as it was, how do you think about taking the band next year? So here we are, about just short of a year later, and we're just kind of ready to go for Sunday. I think just really excited more than anything.
Oh yeah, so it didn't put you off altogether then, Cammy. Yeah, you didn't run away scared.
No,
not
you quite yet.
Took up the challenge, yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's still early doors yet. We've not crossed the line yet. We'll see how we go on Sunday.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I have to get into this. Is called get to meet the band kind of thing. So we've met you guys, but we have to hear about the story of the band itself. So can someone tell me then, where did it all begin, Uddingston Strathclyde? Where did it all start life?
So
Go for it. You go for it, Cam. No, you go, Cam, honestly.
back in 1972, the band, we've only found this out recently, too, as mostly Cammy's been doing his research this week and last week. But we found out back in 1972 it was originally formed as a BB band by a man called Wilson Shaw. So that's where the band actually originated from, then going on to later becoming Uddingston Strathclyde Pipe Band. I'm not sure, did you find out more about that bit, Cammy?
Aye, so I did a bit of dig. There's loads of good people that I've been able to kind of turn to, and there's loads of people that aren't in the organisation or are in the organisation that have a little bit of background. So it became, in 1972 it became Uddingston Strathclyde under Wilson Shaw, and I think Wilson was the pipe major for quite some time. The band had a fair bit of success in sort of the early days when I think they got up to grade 2. I think there was a bit of a plateau over kind of maybe the 80s or so, but the band was very active, not necessarily just in the competition circle, but lots of international trips and things like that. There's lots of I've been sent a lot of some fun stories about bad trips over to France. They used to go to Germany every 2 years. They actually snuck onto a ferry in 1976 to go to France. Don't know how I managed to get a whole pipe band across there, but
I think there's a story. Now, hold on, they snuck onto a ferry.
Yeah, apparently so.
Tell us about that.
Apparently they distracted the boy who was letting people onto the ferry and counting the tickets, etc. With whatever, and ended up all getting on because I think they had said the ferry was full, there was no room for them, whatever the case was. The band had a good reputation for a bit of fun, shall we say, in the sort of the early days. I think most people probably know the band for one thing, and that'll be some very outlandish uniform choices in the early days. I've been sent a couple of pictures, which I'm sure you can share with the audience as well. That one of the best ones though is bright red jackets with bright red tam o' shanters.
That's
absolutely, massively. And then moved on to green jackets, another interesting choice to go with a red kilt. Then there was also a trip to, I think they went to Canada, I want to say, I could be getting this wrong, in 1982, and they wore bright white, all white doublets. So I think that's probably people who were kind of around pipe bands at that time will probably know the band simply for uniform choice more than anything.
So you're quite a fashionable bunch then, is what you're telling me, Cammy. Yeah, you like a bit of fashion.
Maybe a little bit more subdued these days, but I think one of the best ones that I found to enjoy. The band won the Cow Street Parade a long time ago wearing Tunnock's tea cake ponchos. Tunnock's factory is based in Tannockside, which is just beside Uddingston, and I think there was some sort of vague sponsorship deal back in the day. Tunnock's tea cake ponchos in the rain at Cowell and Dunoon. So. Some very interesting fashion choices from the band back in the day.
There you go. That's interesting. Now, I have to ask then, obviously we heard about, the guy that established everything there. Has there been other kind of interesting past members that have been through the band during that time?
There's been a few that have been coming and going, big characters, and there's been a few that have made it, we've found out that have made it to grade 1 and actually do some stuff up in the big leagues. Right. So one of the most memorable names there that a lot of folk will know is Scott Curry and Ross French, who both competed with Shots back in the day when they were on their winning streaks. So that's two of the biggest characters and biggest names that have probably came through out the band and its history that we've found out about.
They are. And do you find that, are they still connected with the band in any way? Do they ever stop in every now and again just to check in?
Not in my time at the band, they haven't, no.
No?
I don't know if they kept contact after they stepped away back in the days, but in the recent years, no, I've not heard of any contact.
Well, you never know. At the point of them listening to this, they might go, I love playing in that band. They might end up back through the band room door. You never know.
You're shopping.
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously then, as you said, they had a bit of a lull in grade 2. And then what happened after that then, after that grade 2 period?
So yeah, I think the band kind of, I say they got to grade 2. I think they were fairly settled in grade 3 for a while. Unfortunately, the RSPBA page only goes back to 2003, so I could only do so much digging. However, the band sort of picked in 2005. I think they had a relatively good season. This is kind of post Wilson Shaw era. And I think they won the drumming championship in 4B at the Scottish. And then again, sort of 4B for a wee while, just kind of plugging away and since the turn of the century. And obviously, I think it's going to talk about the turning point for the band. I think was actually 2019 would be the big turning point when the band qualified for the World's final in 4B. And Ian McGregor, who was pipe major at the time, has sadly passed away. He kind of got the band going, sort of that 2010s kind of era, got the band back into shape. And I was actually helping, funnily enough, tuning drones for the 4B band that day. And when they qualified, I just remember saying, that's our world championship right there. It was a hard slog for obviously a lot of years, but to keep the band being in existence for 53 years without interruption, they've competed in some form or another for that long and always been there, irrespective if it's been up in grade 2 or, down in the depths of 4B. It's been existing for that long. So that was kind of the turning point for the band, I think.
That's it. That's one of the things I was going to say. Like, Uddingston Strathclyde's always been there. From my memory, they've always been there. And I think that's something that a lot of pipe bands can't claim. There's been a lot that's maybe take a year or two out and then come back. But you guys have been constantly in that circle then, Cammy, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's been obviously, like I said, it's been some years where it hasn't been as particularly successful. But there's a lot of people in the background that have made that happen, and continued to have its existence of the band. Even in that period where maybe there was 20 years where they went without a prize.
Yeah.
That was almost irrelevant to the organisation. And I think that kind of ideology of Wilson and Ian McGregor of bringing the young guys through and always having a system, as we do today, we take in learners, and trying to get them ready. We've got our 4B band, just now as well, that we try and get folk into pipe bands and bring them down, teaching, and kind of try to keep that development aspect. And I think that's what probably the reason why the band has had uninterrupted competing for over 50 years. I think that's one of the main driving forces that Wilson instilled in the band.
It's excellent to have that feeder system for sure, and with development bands now becoming a bit of a thing. I should know, I currently play with one in Tullylagan, yeah. But Callum, can I ask you then about the establishment of the development band then? What was the thinking behind that at the time? Getting youngsters involved?
From when I've joined the band, when I joined the band, it was just one grade 4A band. So we've then, from that 2 years ago, went back-to-back promotion. So we won the 4B in the drumming, I believe it was. We got promoted to the 3B last year. We done well. We were relatively in the prize list for most of the majors, and then done the big one at the Worlds and absolutely shocked ourselves with a win at the Worlds. And so this year we've been put up again to 3A. So when we got promoted to 3B, there were some players that maybe just weren't quite for the jump yet. So we decided, let's not get rid of these players. Let's keep them all part of this big family. Let's create a 4B band. Create it as a development band, so it's a feeder system up into our grade 3, A or B, whatever we were at the time. So we've got that there, and now the focus is, let's build both bands. Let's get a good number in the 4B. Let's get a good number in the 3A. Let's see if we can get them promotion. Let's get ourselves even more up, and then we can see if we can just keep growing in the future. That's really the idea behind it, is just to keep the future alive for the band.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So, Cammy, I'm sure there is a team of people now behind the scenes that make all of this possible, that are doing all of the tuition and stuff. Are they members of the 3A band, or just like helpers?
So all the tuition comes from the 3A band essentially, and obviously the leadership of the 4B band as well. It's all in house. That's the kind of game. We have external tuition for our bass section of our 4B band, But past that, it's all internal. That's the way we want to keep it. Ultimately, we want to try and have the thought process and the ideology of Uddingston Strathclyde ultimately. And we've got some great talent in the band that's in the pipe corps. And the drum corps as well in the three bands. So I want to try and share that and a talent experience as well. There's loads of guys with plenty of experience in pipe bands and down in the 4B, whatever grade it will be. There's plenty of experience and understanding. So the teaching system we've got, it's great. There's a lot of guys who'll probably be getting their first run out this weekend that have came through that system. So it's really exciting to see, to be honest. And I've already got my eye on a couple of them about stealing up to the 3A band next year. So
you're at it already.
Absolutely, you've got to be in it to win it. Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Callum, you mentioned that big moment about lifting the big in last year, lifting the World Championships last year. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time to see you guys marching off. And the amount of people that were nearly too emotional to play.
Yeah.
It was such a huge moment, Cammy. Can you tell us about that, about what it meant to the band?
Yeah, I think it was just a culmination of so much hard work through the year, to be honest. We were maybe not quite at the races at the start of the season. And I think just through time, and obviously I worked with Pete when I came in for the pipe major, and we just tried to get things a little bit more. I think it was all about being settled and control for us over the season, and just being totally calm on contest day, not trying to worry about anything too much, what's going on around you. And to be honest, we shocked ourselves. There's no getting around it. We had a good run on the day. We'd had a really good result the week before at Perth. At the Europeans, we'd come second. That was kind of out the blue as well. Again, we'd had a good run, but just from the start of the season, maybe weren't quite expected to be up there with some of the bands that have been consistently good. But ultimately, we went and had a good run. The setup on the day was excellent. We recovered. There was a couple of patches of rain and whatever, but we still recovered. And the drummers had an absolutely phenomenal run. I came onto the march past saying, if anything, the drummers will drag us into the prizes today. And I think that moment, I think there's actually a video of it on the Facebook of someone filmed the moment that we won, and it's unbelievable. It's like you just, money can't buy that feeling of the unexpectedness of that win. And I think that trajectory going into the winter just really helped us in terms of retention as well. And to bring in players that are thinking maybe these guys have actually switched on and they know what they're doing. And we're kind of obviously wanting to keep that 6-6 and the momentum going. To be honest, it's a really exciting time. And I think I said to you, Rab, for text, it's a bit of a golden age for the band at the moment. Since 2019, I think that moment in August really it was 2019, all that building all the way up to winning a world championship. And I think most guys in the band, past and present, would say it's probably the biggest moment for the organisation in 50 years. So it's pretty exciting stuff to be a part of at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's really, really important, for that. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that, because it seemed to be a mixture of just emotion of, oh my God, we just won the Worlds. And then a bit of relief as well. It seemed to be like all this hard work for all of these years have now come to fruition and you're walking out there as champions. Yeah, that seemed to be a lot of it, So I have to ask then, what does the future hold for the band? Obviously, competition's now starting on Sunday as the point of us recording this, but have you any big plans for this incoming year?
Well, we just want to get out there. Obviously, it's first year in 3A for a lot of the guys haven't really competed at that level, and some of them have, some of them haven't. So we've got a good mixture this year. I know in the drum corps anyway, and I think Cammy would agree for the pipe corps.
Definitely, yeah.
So we're just looking to get across the line. We know what we're capable of. We've heard it in practice. We've heard it in the build up, so we know what we've got sitting ready to go. So we just need to go and prove ourselves when we get into that circle on the day, because we know the potential there. We're just really looking just to keep going up the way.
There's
keep
a
going.
lot of people very excited to hear you, and I'm one of them, Well, for full disclosure, by the way, I'm sure people probably already know, but Stuart Campbell on the Rab Show team actually plays with you guys. And he's quite good at the old social media stuff, so he is, to be fair to him. And we were just talking, just before we hit record here, that he uploaded a teaser on TikTok, and I nearly fell out with him over it, where you guys hit the opening rolls, you hit the E and everything, and then silence, and I was raging. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to your music this weekend. Can you give us any kind of clues? What musically have you guys got in store for us this year?
I think that most of the stuff is it's nothing out of this world. It's quite settled, and I think the thinking behind when I sort of started to think about putting a medley together, because everything's brand new this year. I'll give that away. It's all brand new stuff.
Whole new set, yeah.
Yeah, two brand new, new MSR, a new medley. So
Yeah.
it was all about playing to the players around you, but also a little bit of excitement. And I think my pipe sergeant Jamie Brownlee, he wrote most of the harmonies and things like that, and it's actually pretty exciting. And some of the stuff that the drummers are doing is quite energetic. I think that's the word I would use for the medley. It's quite energetic. So we're excited to get it out there, and people to hear it and ultimately see what they think. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's only four guys' opinion that matter at Gurek. So but we want to excite the audience as much as possible as well. That's the plan, and get the guys enjoying the music as well, and make it that it's fun and playable, and that it can hopefully produce the goods on the park at the end of the day.
There you go. Now, Callum, I have to ask you, from a drumming perspective, you guys, over this past couple of seasons, I reckon, you seem to be having fun. Now, there's not many drum corps out there that seem to be visibly enjoying their playing as they're in that circle. But I've seen players smiling, they're looking up and like, hey, this is fun. You guys really genuinely seem to enjoy playing.
It's a unique core. Like, from the minute I stepped into that band 2 years ago, again, it was Stuart that brought me in, as well as Cammy. So I think a lot of it's down to Stuart. Like, he creates such an atmosphere, and everyone just gets involved with it. Everyone's there to enjoy themselves, but go out and do well at the same time. So we have a serious head on for that 5-6 minutes, whatever the medley or the MSR might be. But the minute that's done with, we're all just back to we're a great unit. We are just, everyone gets along. There's no one got any grief with anyone. It's just a great laugh every time we're out together. Even at the practices, I'm sure Cammy won't be very happy when he's trying to tune the chanters and we're all laughing at the back of the core or whatever.
So, Cammy, I have to ask then, for anyone who does want more information on the band, to even look at past performances and stuff, where would you recommend that, they go and check you out?
I think for us, it's to be honest, the Facebook page. If anyone's interested in anything to do with the band, there's definitely some performances on YouTube and things like that. But the main contact point for the band is Uddingston Strathclyde on Facebook. And obviously, if anyone's ever interested in learning, we've got the development band that are competing in either 4B or 3A. We're always all ears to take anyone on in the sort of North Lanarkshire or surrounding area. I mean, I come from Edinburgh. I travel an hour to band. We've got people from all over the sort of central belt that come through to the band. It's one thing I would say, if anyone interested, it's a really exciting time for the organisation, and we're really excited to get out this year. We've got a lot of stuff planned. We've actually planning to come over and compete at the All Ireland Championships, which not a lot of Scottish bands would maybe think about, but we're wanting to get a trip away, and we're really excited for that. Like I said, I don't think a lot of Scottish bands have been over or will go. I'm not sure of the history of the contest, but I think for us it felt like a no-brainer. With only being 4 majors, we think let's make our own 5th major here, and get Perfect. Out and. Yeah, like I say, the year ahead is exciting. We've got a lot of contests upcoming, and then we'll come into the major season. But in that time, if anyone wants to hear us, obviously get down to the park and over online. Obviously, if you want to get in touch with myself and Callum or anybody on the Facebook page as well, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. And like I say, it's just a really exciting time at Uddingston Strathclyde, and we're just, in a nutshell, just enjoyed it. It's been it felt like there's been a lot of hard work in the background, but a relatively effortless winter because it's just been so enjoyable to work with Callum as well. Obviously, we came in as a brand new leadership team this year, so to gel so quickly and kind of come into the fold of the organisation leadership and whatever, it's been excellent. And we're just honestly this week has been great so far, and considering it's competition week, it feels so relaxed across both bands as well. We've got practices for both bands this week. We'll have our final practice tomorrow before we hit the circle. And yeah, it's just a great time to be part of Uddingston Strathclyde. So I'd urge anyone who's interested to get in touch with us.
Oh, excellent stuff. And do we have to say, "Mon the Audie"? You
absolutely.
Always appreciated.
Always.
Excellent. So, yeah, best of luck to everyone who's stepping out for the first time this weekend. So have a good tune. And to all of you old hands that's been there before, looking forward to seeing you back in the circle again. Yeah, to Callum and Cammy, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. And again, yeah, Mon the Audie.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Thanks very much, Rob. Thanks for having us.
So, yeah, this was all recorded before Uddingston Strathclyde hit that line. And we've now seen them a few times already this season. So, that's on us. This one's been on the shelf for a little while, but hey, again, a huge shout out to Callum and Cammy for joining us here on the show. And yeah, I'm sure you found that quite interesting. So yeah, we do hope to release a string of these, Meet the Band. And yeah, there are tons on the shelf at this point. We've recorded quite a number of them. And yeah, it was great to kind of, I don't know, tread the boards for the first time with Uddingston Strathclyde. So thank you folks for joining us on that one. If you are particularly interested in having your band featured on our new Meet the Band series, then email us in bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Give us a shout, reach out, and if your band has an interesting story to tell, then yeah, we would love to feature your band here on the show on a future show as a future topic of the week. There you are. So, folks, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. I have to say a massive thank you to everyone for downloading this week and each and every week. And don't forget to tell your mates about our wee show, about what we're doing over here, blathering away every week about what we know and love to be the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yeah, also if you are so inclined and would like to help support us, then you can do. Go down there to our show notes. Yeah, there's a wee link there for Patreon and be part of the Patreon faithful. We'd love to have you. Yeah. All right. Best of luck, everybody, this weekend in Cookstown for the Mid-Ulster Championships. And, of course, for everything else, if you are competing around the globe, then do have a good tune. We'll certainly be wishing you well, of course, and living vicariously over social media if we're unable to be there in person. I, myself, will be there in Cookstown this weekend, of course, and I'll be annoying everybody with a microphone and camera and all that good stuff, and hopefully with a set of pipes under my arm as well. So, hoping for a good tune this weekend for everyone. All right, folks, I wish you all the very best, and I will see you all back here again next week for another Big Rab Show pod. Until then, we'll see you all next week. All the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.